to my colleague here and our listeners and viewers. Yes, the flood management matters in Ghana. Mawena, it's actually basically a structural matter. It is structural. And the state must, and I know that the state is aware that it is predominantly a structural matter. By structural, I'm talking about the engineering of or re-engineering of Accra as far as flood management is concerned. I say this with the benefit of hindsight. Let's take a look at Alajo. If you remember, once upon a time, Alajo was a very flood-prone area. A certain government decided to do something, which is the construction of some major storm drains. Yeah. And then we saw that it abated for some time. It's in recent years that it started flooding again. And so it tells us that if we take the right decision and construct the proper, storm drains, which is really related to engineering matters, we'll be able to get a solution to these major problems. The President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has said that he spoke about the situated nature of Accra between the sea and then the Aburi Hills, okay, the Equapim ranges. And so that is true. And when it rains there, there's a report, the 2015 June 3rd disaster report, which captures that succinctly and made some recommendations that there should be the construction of retention ponds, and so again, structural matters, engineering matters, from the Adenta, Yarifa area all the way to the Odo. You get it? And so this is something that is captured in the June 3rd, 2015 disaster report, okay, which is there. If there's any government to be blamed, yes, we can take part of the blame because the report has been there since then. You get it? And we as a government then should have, when I was speaking for NADMO, I was wondering why we were not minded to implement some of these, and it's cost matter, okay? And so I was one of the people who were excited when the Garage project came on board, as Greater Accra. And these major recommendations were to be implemented in the Greater Accra region, okay? So I was excited. And yes, Garage funds were disbursed to some of the contiguous districts, about 17 of them that were directly going to be being affected by these flood matters. And so they thought some of these engineering things will help abate the challenges of flooding in these contiguous districts. It's some monies were disbursed to the assemblies to manage these things. And so that one we may talk about that. I've had the privilege, Mawena, to be in a program with an engineer, and he brought up something interesting. He spoke about. He said the size of our drains are also some of the things we need to consider. Because when they are making the engineering calculations with coefficients and others, they factor the land area vis-a-vis the built area where there are concretes and others. And so if the area is a bare land with grass and others, the size of the drain is smaller than when the place is a concrete area. Marina, you agree with me that over time, we've developed most of our bare lands into concrete or built areas. And again, we've even captured or taken over Ramsey sites. When I was growing up, anytime we came to Tema, we were coming to Accra. From Tema to Accra, in between those places, there were big Ramsey sites along the routes. You get it? And those Ramsey sites were to collect water, okay? And then gradually evaporate. And then, so it helps in managing flood. But we've covered them and built in those areas. Ministers are trying their best to be, trying to reclaim those things. But it's going to be difficult because they are built areas now. You get it? And so these are things we need to do. A government must decide that we are going to restructure re-engineer the city of Accra. And then if we have to break some houses, in fact, the garage project, part of it was about, some houses were going to be affected so that there will be major drains constructed. Let's get to that and invest money in that to re-engineer Accra. There's a record, if you read history, Benjamin Disraeli, a former British Prime Minister, in his time, in the 80s or early 90s, tax where, the Thames was flooding and then London was having problems. He said, come on, why do we have engineers here? Take charge. He taxed the engineers and they found a solution to the problem. That is a similar vein that I'm proposing to our governments to see if we can sit with our engineers and other experts in that area to see how we can find solutions. But as I said, it's structural. We need to focus on that and find the money for this. Is a capital intensive thing. The second alternative, which many people wouldn't want, is to maybe consider relocating the capital. That is not funny. You get it. People wouldn't be too. But it is also, Nigeria did it. Lagos, the administrative made it commercial, moved the administrative capital to Abuja. You get it. It's a decision that governments can look at. Accra, is it that, one, we are below sea level, it's a fact, and then trapped between the I3fm Hills and then the sea, and the flooding is giving us problems. Can we look at the possibility of relocating our capital from Accra maybe to Kintampo or maybe to Chifupra? So I've read some literature that says that is a place that is a possible consideration for relocation of the capital or wherever we decide, so that we decongest the city a little, and then the human traffic will move to that area and some of these problems can be solved. Or whilst we do that, then we begin to do the engineering thing to solve the Accra flooding situation. It is capital intensive. We cannot gloss over that. A government must design. And the last one, before my colleague comes in, I must say this, having been in office for the 8 years and then things that I've observed, we made some travels, and when we engaged outside of Ghana, and you see the seriousness that other countries attached to disaster management vis-a-vis what we're doing. Mawena, Ghana doesn't take disaster management as a priority. I must say this. It doesn't seem to be our priority. And so we need to have budget. Yes, we make budgets under Ministry of Interior and others, but the funds are located, not the aftermath of disaster relief support and co. I'm talking about proper management processes, which involves the pre-disaster, the disaster, and the post-disaster, the training, engagement, sensitization, and then some of these infrastructure construction and co by the assemblies, the hydromet, and other related bodies, so that these investments will help reduce or abate the effects of flooding on the people. Last one again is about the human responsibilities that maybe as we go, or maybe we'll touch on that, which has got to do with waste.
Attitudinal changes.
Yeah, attitude and His Excellency, I heard the President again speak to the people about that. I heard His Excellency, the former Vice President, also speak to us on our attitudes and co. And every person who matters in these flood issues touches on that attitude. In fact, before we got to studio, a friend called me and she was angry that the human attitude, throwing of refuse and all that is not the best. And so we need to engage our people, the assemblies, and then to make sure these attitudes, the AMA has some bylaws that sometimes they arrest people and they punish them. But how deterrent is it? You get it? Sometimes I'll be tempted, you and your camera people go around. The AMA and the KMA and the Takrady Assembly and co, they are part to blame sometimes. You know why? Because they have the containers at Kanish, at wherever, and sometimes they are overfilled and they don't take them. The rains come, they wash them away. You get it? And so timely disposal of refuse containers and co by the assemblies is something that we ought to look at, whilst we engage our people on their attitude to waste management and flooding.
Mr. Isi, thank you very much for these opening comments. And I'm going to come to you again, and I'll stay with you a bit more because of the experience and expertise in relation to the work that you've done in the past. And so thank you for that as well. I'm going to come to my other guests, and I appreciate you as well for joining me in studio. Your thoughts initially as well on the flooding situation, Malik. What we are seeing play out, and why it continues to persist after so many long years. It's almost a century since floods began to trouble us before independence.
I saw a graphic headline in the 60s.
As far back as 1935, Accra had experienced floods. And so we're almost nearing a century, 100 long years, and we're still gathering around the table, having the same conversations and what have you.
Yeah, thank you, Mawunya. Let me first say good morning to Mr. President. Good morning to the Vice, who is my mother. And good morning to yourself and my colleague here, our listeners too. Yes, I agreed with my colleagues on a lot of things that he said, both engineering and reality. Yes, when it comes to mitigating the floods in Greater Accra, sincerely speaking, it is structure work. As he said, it is a purely structure work. And it is very, very capital intensive. Very, very capital intensive. It is possible to minimize floods in Accra. We can minimize it to a very, very, very low percent, which is possible if we should do things right. What are the right things am I saying? As he earlier said, which I agree with him, the structures. And also we should be able to have something that we call stopover, such as it looks like when you are putting up a house and then you have a chamber before the manhole itself, where the water will store temporarily and then move to its destination.
That's what I
yes.
retention ponds.
Yes, we used to have them, and the essence of it is to hold the water temporarily and then distribute, because the pressure, all the water can't move into its destination. We have them in the various places, such as Labadi, where the bridge is. That was the purpose for it. And then Sakumono Ramza site, we were having this, that pool there, which is so huge, is also gone. Those things were there to just cushioning the water before it allows it to move into the sea. Those things were, currently as we are speaking, they are not in existence again because of what human encroaches. So those things are not in existence. But as we said, yes, when we do a lot of construction, some of the drains, the volume of the drains are small to the extent that they cannot contain the waters that passes through them. That is one. Some of them too have been sealed by dirt. That is the refuse, even sand and coal, which we have to start distilling them. This, if we don't do, we will still encounter what is happening today, and it will happen forever. Accra by nature, the land is clay. Accra by nature. That is how come when you put up a house in Accra, within 2-3 years, the house settles, you see some cracks because it is clay. And clay doesn't soak much water. It soaks a bit, just literally a bit, and the rest suspends. So if it's a clay, and then the water doesn't get access to move, what does it do? It spread across. Wherever it gets, it spread. So the problem is access of water. That is the challenge we are having. The access of water is so difficult. I agree with him when he spoke about Alaju. Some years back in 90s, somewhere 96, thereabout, and 95, if you recall, Ashama was facing similar problem. Storm drains have to be constructed in Ashama to stop those things. When you look at Sukura, Russia, they were encountering similar problems. Storm drains have to be constructed there. Nima, between Nima and Mamobi, we used to have similar problem. Even the then President Rawlings would storm there, enter inside the gutter, removing some of the waste there, and we've been laughing at him. All those things are simple because there wasn't access for the water to flow. But when those storm drains were constructed, it ceased up to today. Even what occurred the day before yesterday, those areas didn't flood because the water flows. We have a well-constructed drain, which is well calculated, and the water flows. That is what we need now. And it is capital intensive, as he said, which is true. It is very, very capital intensive. Construction is expensive. Concrete works are extremely expensive. So if we want to minimize or even stop the floods, we can't stop it completely, but we can minimize it drastically in Greater Accra. Then we need to pump in cash money and then construct most of the drains and also connect areas that don't have drains. Another place, somebody will go and buy a land in an area and then put up a house. Others will see, also go and put up various houses there without a gutter, without simple drain. When it rains, those areas will flood. Why will it flood? It will flood because there's no access for the water to flow. So if there's no access for the water to flow, automatically the water will spread there and be there. That is the challenges we've been having throughout. When I was coming, I listened to one gentleman, the 78-year man, who was talking about Klagon. Klagon by nature is waterlogged area, if you know Klagon extremely well. When you get to is it Shalom Spot, just after Shalom Spot, those areas all are man. And there is a water from the motorway, there's this big drain from motorways, even a river or stream, that passes through just after the Shalom Spot up to the lagoon at Sakumono. And then it spreads sometimes because it is not constructed. That area is not constructed. So it spreads. So in that area, if you build anyhow, you will face challenges until it is being rezoned. And the rezone should be done before the construction even takes place. What are the reasons am I talking about? One, they should construct the storm drains across there and maybe construct the road, which will look like a service plot, construct it, and then put the small drain, that is 0.6 drains, put them to connect the storm drain, and then you are allowed to put up your house. With that, even if there will be flood, it will be very minimal once that it can be controlled. But what we see today, yes, we will encounter it until we start putting up the storm drains to support or to ease the pressure of water that flows. Simply what occurred at Circle is as a result of the space, that is the river, the boundary of the river couldn't contain the water. What caused it? Filt caused it. Filt caused it. So the water couldn't flow. Sun, a lot of sun. So it couldn't contain it. Because it couldn't contain it, overflows. Because the volume becomes smaller than the space. That is exactly what occurred. That is, so construction aspect is there. And periodically maintenance. That's periodically clearing, distilling continue distilling what? Those drains consistently, maybe periodically, monthly base or 2 months periodically. I think we will ease it. And then the other side of it is the human nature. The human nature also, yes, contributes some significant percentage, not excessive anyway. And it normally affects the small drains. That's the 0.6 drains, the 0.3, and then the 2, not the storm ones, because it seals. When you put refuel in these small drains, what does it do? It blocks it. So whenever it rains, it doesn't get access to flow. So it overflows the road and keep flowing the road, and then the road all becomes full. Look at what happened at Jolo.
3FM, 92.7.
Simple and short, where the shell is, that is North Jolo on the N1. There was a drain under the N1, which goes through Villaggio and then goes through Shangri-La, behind the airport, and then go and gather at Labadi, where the lagoon is. Before later, it will pass through the bridge that they are doing to the sea. But when the road was constructed, and buildings, which I don't name, big buildings came, the volume of the drain becomes smaller. So the access of flow wasn't enough. So automatically, it overflows to the road. It overflows to the road. So before we can solve it, unless construction, we re-expand that drain so the water can flow, and redirect it to wherever it's supposed to go. I'm of the opinion that when we are doing this, we shouldn't go in that we are going to demolish homes, but we should go in as we are going to construct drains.
But homes will have to make way for the
I'll get there.
drains.
I'll get there. You don't go with the purpose as if you are going to demolish homes. You are going with the purpose that you are going to construct drains as we construct roads. So when you are constructing the drains, any structure, not necessarily home, any structure that is on the way will be cleared.
Right.
No matter the structure will be cleared.
Not just going to demolish buildings and leave
in
them.
the purpose of constructing a drain. You demarcate your portion, you demarcate your allowable allowance, and then go into construct your drain. When you are constructing, any obstacle on the way should move as we construct roads. You see how we construct roads? Obstacle on the way will go away. Then the allowable allowance that we need will be taken, and we leave your portion for
Right.
you. So those things that's how it was done with Alajo. So they didn't go in purposely to demolish home. It was done by TSEC. Not necessarily we are going to demolish home to now construct the drain. You will have it wrong. But go in as you are going to construct the drain. You know the size you want, you know the allowable space you want, and then start taking. If it affects any structure, you take the structure out, and then you construct your drain.
Right.
I think when we do that, we will save homes. Somebody can get his bedroom without getting his hall. He will work on it. Somebody will get his hall without working. We will work on it. And also about our behavior, character. I think it's two sides of the issue. Whilst we are accusing ourselves, we should also look at another side. Another side is that sometimes it is very difficult to find even dustbins on the way. That is a fact. So sometimes when you are even holding bottled water, not even the water, you are holding bottled. You drink water and you are holding the bottle. You find it very difficult to find a dustbin to put it in. So the stubborn ones will just look left and right and throw it somewhere. The same way happens to when you are holding sachet, pure water, rubber, because we don't have the dustbin at a particular points or strategic points where if someone walks at least about 500 meters or even 1 kilometer, may see a dustbin and put it in. So whilst we are talking about our behavior, we should also make a noble environment in a manner that those things too can reduce, people can contribute. I sometimes hold rubber and then drive for about 5-10 kilometers without seeing where to place it. And then you leave it in the car until you get home or you get somewhere before you remove it. So until we get these things to, believe me to say, we will educate people, but yes, still, those things will not solve.
Malik, thank you. On the dustbin matter, we've seen dustbins distributed, and then persons, instead of using it to collect rubbish, they use it to store water at their homes. I mean, we've seen reports of such nature. People come and steal the dustbin. So at some point in time, they were chaining the dustbins to metal posts, which makes it difficult when waste collectors come around to even now wanting to pour the. So at the base, the attitudinal problem as well, because this morning I've been showing videos of persons who are dumping refuse even as it was raining.
Yeah. That one is part of our norm now. People pile it when the rains begin, then the flood waters will take them to where they have to be, and they go to choke.
But at the heart of this as well is a problem of waste management.
Yeah.
Right? Because we can argue persons dispose of waste indiscriminately and they are throwing rubbish in gutters and what have you. But even the rubbish that is collected from our homes, the people who decide to store and keep the refuse and hand it over to refuse collectors, where do they end up? It's a question that is being asked as well.
Yeah, landfill sites.
And co. Where are they ending up such that when it rains, it doesn't just sweep into drains?
But Maunya, I think we can start from the homes first and then look at the disposal points to.
Because yesterday,
the homes are very, very important first. You know, we spoke about the bins, that people carry the bins and then store them with water. Yes, we can also design a bins that you cannot store water in them. We can equally do something like that. You make it in a form of net.
Yes, you perforate
it should be in a form of net. People wouldn't use it. And what I'm even saying is on the public places, even TV3 here, just go out, walk from here to the curve behind the GBC and see whether you will see even single one on the road. So assuming somebody drank water and is walking, or somebody ate something and is holding the waste, and then walking from here to that distance, which is about 600 meters plus or minus, without finding a dustbin, what will the person do? We just look at some corner and then leave it there. So whilst we are advising ourselves, we should also make, as I said earlier, a noble environment. Let's put it there. And if the person did not do that, we now question the person. Then we start talking about it. So it is the two sides of the argument. And we can introduce those, then we were calling them Sama, the Tangas people, the town country. So we call them Tangas. Let's introduce them. They sanitize our communities, believe me. They sanitize them because when we were young, and then when they are coming, our mummies will run and then go and cover any rubbish which is around just because they don't want them to come and see and then find them. So when we introduce them, and then they come house to house, watch your area, the gutters in your front. If it's choked, they will find you. You wouldn't like to pay. So every week, you will force to clean, to tidy up all the gutters in your front because you'll be fined and you'll be paid. To avoid paying maybe 500 Ghana, 400, 300, I will clean there every Saturday morning. So that place will look tidy and then avoid paying. So by so doing, one, we are tidying up the nation. And then two, we are also avoiding floods in those areas.
Right.
So, yes, thank you.
I'll come to Mr. Isi on the waste management bit. Then from there, I'll stay with him a bit longer because of the NADMO Disaster Fund.
That's fine.
We've not heard a lot about it and the role it's supposed to play. Then the aftermath of June 3 and the lessons, what was the plan? How was it supposed to deal with flooding such that we are still where we are? So, Mr. Isi, talk to me on waste management, because I know NADMO, as part of the work you do, all of that comes up for consideration. You're talking with the assemblies and all of that. What is the national plan, at least from the conversations you had, in dealing with waste management? Because it's a huge factor in all of the things that we see.
Waste management is key. That's why under our administration, then we consider the Ministry for Sanitation and Water Resources. This government, His Excellency, the President doesn't think it's wise to have a separate Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources. So he's made it back to the Ministry of Local Government. I ain't got no problem with that. Once there will be efficiency. In fact, last time I listened to the local government minister, I thought his thinking and approach is not bad. He says they're going to release funds to the assemblies on waste management, and they are going to hire their own waste management. Hitherto, Zoom Lion was all over
nationwide.
the place. Yes. Now they want the assemblies to decide which waste management companies will manage their waste in their locality. I listened to the Honorable Minister, and I thought, okay, if by doing so there can be efficiency brought to bear on waste management, that will be okay. You get it? And so when we were doing the national thing, the assemblies were an integral part. And of course, the assemblies are directly under the local government ministry. So it makes sense if they want to get the local government to do that waste management. And NADMO is part of the assembly. We sit on the assemblies committees and co. So these things are discussed from time to time. And that's where initially I spoke about the disposal of the waste by the assemblies after the containers are put there and they're full. And that's where we spoke about the landfill site and all that. So we should have the resources available to the managers or those who are in the waste management sector in the country so that they will be paid as and when their payment is due. Then they can carry out efficient management. Then there will be a site designated for them to go and dispose of the waste. There's another challenge on our hands. These Abubuya guys, you get it. That's also another difficult challenge.
A huge problem.
Yes, landfill site issues. They go to a point. So I was happy when you spoke about that management system. They get to a point and then they've taken it from the homes. Then they get to somewhere and they dump it and they move away. That is a challenge to waste management by the assemblies. You get it? And so if we have proper waste management agencies like Zoom Lion and those other ones who come to our homes, pick the dustbin in front of our homes, empty it, and then move on, that will be good for all of us. And at a minimal fee, there are some people who cannot afford, and that's affordability is part of the reason they wait for the rains and then they dump them and move away. So that is one thing we need to look at, and that's a serious national agenda in waste management. It's capital intensive again. That place also takes huge chance.
It's a lot of capital intensive.
Yes. Apart from the structure, and waste management itself is another thing on issue. And again, we are lucky we have waste management companies that are, you see, solid waste. You're able to separate those things, the plastic waste and others. You see, they can use it for other things. If we can encourage these bodies to have that, I see them going for sachet, empty sachet, this and then plastic bottles. It's good for recycling and all that. One other thing we need to look at, which is a challenge, my brother suggested, Malik suggested, we have perforated bins and others. It's true. But Mawena, another difficult group that we are having to deal with. In fact, these days, they are taking gutters, metals, those waste abochi guys. They take those perforated things, and then now, bridges, the metal, this thing, you see them pulling it out to go and sell. You get it? That is a challenge that all of us as citizens, we should be watchful, okay, and look around our community. As well, we know that every neighbor is like a vigilante or a watchdog on the community and his assets and co. So let's begin to look at it that way and see that these people who are in the name of doing business with this thing, what's the name of that? The things, the Abochi guys, the things, the scrap dealers. The scrap dealers, we see that they do their works properly and not try to sabotage national assets for their personal gain. So these are things that we need to look at as far as waste management is concerned. Let's push resources into it.
Mark Ewusi has joined us. He's a convener of Election Watch Ghana. I'll come to Mark shortly, but talk to me about the disaster fund.
Yeah.
It's very important. Yesterday we had the Kwale Clotte, Member of Parliament, speak to it and said, has it been operationalized?
Very well. There's a little challenge. You see,
where are we?
Section 48 of Act 927 spells out that there should be a disaster fund. And that disaster fund is about 3% of the Assembly's common fund. And unfortunately, any time they disburse MP's common fund, this fund also moves. Unfortunately, from my experience in office, it's mainly for administrative purpose. Mainly. You get it? And so I was wondering if we can achieve our target. Okay? Look at every district in Ghana has an admin office. Okay? And so when we started, we saw that, look, every time the fund comes, part is disbursed to every district, okay? And that is administrative. And then the contingency funds for disaster response and others, okay? So if we want to involve in major infrastructure, maybe the fund is meant for these administrative and then disaster response. That is it. But if we want to embark on major things that can improve sanitation and then flood controls and co, we need to take a look at it. I said there will be a problem, or there's a little problem, because you see, Act 927 must be operationalized. If it's fully operationalized, we need an LI, a legislative instrument.
So it means as it stands, it's not fully operationalized.
Yes, because the LI is not in place. In fact, when we were in office, there was a technical team that was working in partnership with some lawyers and then members of parliament who, in fact, the MPs were ready. Anytime we sent something, they were ready to look at it, and they were eager to get the thing. Once it gets to them fully concluded, they will push it for the passage of the bills to make it the LI to be functional. But unfortunately, the technical thing, they will go, they've not concluded before we left office. I'll entreat the current administration and leadership of NADMO to take another look at it and push these LI so that it will be passed. One is it's passed. There are punitive measures, and you need a LI so that judges will know how to handle offenses that are committed under the Act. You get it? So that there's recommendation, and when this is done, this is the punishment. When somebody is going to build, very interesting, you need to have a disaster clearance certificate signed by the Director General of NADMO. You get it? So, and then if you are going to occupy a property, you need those things. You get it? And so
why will you need those things?
Is it?
If you are going to build, you need a disaster management
clearance. Disaster
why will you need
No, you know what? It's even now, it's there. You know why? Some people go for permits to put up a one-story.
Yes. You go and they end up doing 2, 3.
2, 3. Meanwhile, the soil structure, this thing is not for,
No.
Yes.
So it all is under the supervision of the engineers.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Not necessarily NADMO.
No, again.
It is in a second. And it is the plan that you submitted to the Assembly for permit. It is their responsibility.
Yes.
But when it comes to that is the plot or the nature of the land, or whether it is for construction of buildings or it is not supposed to be for homes, it is solely meant for the physical planning. So they go there. Currently, what they do is that when you apply for permit, they are the first point of contact. They go and look at the land first. If it's a buildable land, before they give you the bill, you are admitted to pay. So you don't necessarily need this. People, the floods, forgive me, for floods,
927.
that's fine. The floods and
it's for a purpose.
Permit does not necessarily mitigate floods and co, no, with a due respect. And permit does not also mitigate maybe collapse of a building, no. It is purely maybe bad job by the clients.
You could get permits and
do the wrong thing.
And do the wrong thing. And you could get permits on the wrong land as well.
It's also there.
People are
but with the
permits for houses to be built on
I'm coming. Yes, on the absorption, you see, they are giving the permit on the absorption of rezoning. You get it? On the assumption of rezoning. So, which is, I'm talking pure engineering. So I've put politics aside.
Sure. I mean, because you are speaking based on your background.
Thank you.
Right.
Even you can derive from what I'm saying.
Yes. It's purely from your background in terms of engineering.
Thank you. So it is not necessarily about, what am I saying? I'm just confused. It is not. Permit does not
guarantee against.
No. The simple reason is that there can be an area which is intended to be rezoned. So if it's intended to be rezoned, those places will be allowed to put up those buildings because it will be rezoned to maybe residential.
3FM 92.
So it will be allowed. Then with time they rezone it. So sometimes they give permit based on these reasons.
But why are they not rezoning first?
That is the argument we should be making
so
now.
that we will see what the rezone area will look like. Where are the clearly demarcated drains? How are we?
So my earlier submission. Yeah, I said so. My earlier submission, I even related to Klagon. that is
Yes,
a
Klago
muddy area,
is a muddy
but it
area.
can be rezoned after constructing the storm drain. They can construct the inner rows and then the small drain, 0.6 small drain to convey water. It can be rezoned before construction goes. Remember I said so.
Yeah.
But sometimes, because it has been said that it's going to be rezoned, they have their boundary, and then they will, from the beginning to the boundary, they will just leave it for people to start building. And then they will build anyhow. Then when rain falls or situations such as what happened this week occurs, then they will be in trouble. But by then, because of the intent that they have to rezone the place, they've given permits. And another thing I'm saying is that, which my brother said, you see, sometimes you bring your design, everything. The engineers will go through, structure engineer will go through, everything is perfect. You will start constructing, they will come to site, the specifications, everything is correct. But you will get a wrong artisan who cannot drain the drains together. And then the thing will separate. I, as engineer, will never know, because I will come and see 20 rod, which is recommendable for cantilever. I will applaud you. I'll come and see this, I will applaud you. They are all at the side. I'll come and see you burning them, fixing them, I will applaud you. But at the end of the day, when you are arranging them, and then they are not well arranged, no matter the specification, it will come down.
It will come down.
You understand?
Fair.
And the engineer cannot control this. That is where sometimes people don't get it. That is where I'm coming from. So it is not always about they didn't look at it, they didn't, and they have the other ones who go in for 2-story building and end up putting up 3-story building or more. They are also there. So clearly, to me, I don't see, though it is in the airline, but I don't see how it will benefit if you have to get a clearance as what is the name? That is disaster clearance certificate. Because some of the buildings, you go in for environmental clearance, you go in for fire clearance before even you'll be given the permit. And it's purely the physical planning's responsibility. You should go and look at the site. If the site is not meant for building, they won't give you permit. They do now. I can speak for Abokobi and Co., which I know as a matter of fact that that's the first point of contact. They will charge you everything, which ranges around 3,000 to 9,000 based on what you want to do. Then they will go with a team and go and look at the place. Just look at it like this and come back, and then come and prepare your permit fee for you. Then you pay. And I think other assemblies who are not doing that should take you and do that.
Right. I'm going to bring in Mark Usiako, is a convener of Election Watch Ghana, is a regular here with us on a Wednesday. Mark, we're talking floods, and then, it happens every year. Your thoughts generally on everything and where we go from here, such that it's not just everyday talk. Next year we'll be here, we'll be talking about the same thing again.
Definitely.
You know, it's become tiring somewhat.
Broken record.
My prayer is that this 300 million, one, we should look at always dredging the Odo. You know, the cause of the flood at Odo is full of sand. So the volume of water cannot flow. So we should be dredging it once in the 2 months or once in the 3 months, consistent. That is 1. 2, just let's identify the strategic places that what's the name? The bridges fail. Sometimes the bridges are low, so the water cannot go through. Then they overflow. Between Kisima, that's Christian Village, and Pillar 2, that bridge there always fail. Let's look at that one. There are other ones that we don't know. Let's use this money and look at the very serious areas, and then even look at places such as Abofu. There are some places that the concrete, the side and side, has peeled off. So they look at those areas with some of this money to fix those areas so that it wouldn't be overflow. At least we can assess, and then the severe ones, we tackle them. Even if every year we tackle the severe ones 10. Believe me to say, within 3 years or 4 years, we will not even see floods. Thank you.
Most certainly. Mark, if you come in.
A very good morning to you and to my big brothers. In fact, when coming, I was monitoring, especially yourself on Facebook. I realized that you dealt with the issues technically from your background, and I really appreciate that. However, there are some fundamental problems and challenges that we need to look at tackling. And if you don't address those things, we will continue to come here and talk and talk and talk. Me, when I was a small boy, I used to hear about flooding. I lived somewhere around Ashaman, Lebanon.
Okay.
And there was this big bridge. Yes.
I was part of those who constructed
it.
With
so
a company
on fire, you know Pink Lady?
I know them.
That was why I
with
lived.
a company, Uniquesco.
Okay. So I remember one night.
95.
I remember, 95 and 6.
Yes, we constructed a drain. The offices are come to 12.
Okay. I remember one night we were going home with my mom and the place was flooded. Okay. So people had to, carry some of us with my siblings and all that to cross. It took God to, cross that particular, water or whatever.
Yeah.
And it is so surprising that I have grown and we still have this challenge.
We're still talking about the same issues, eh?
It means that we are not serious as a country. But let's be very straight to the issues. We are not serious as a country. We can talk about the technicalities. What have been the mitigating factors? What have we done to solve this problem? And day in, day out, the issue keeps increasing. Our problems continue to expand. And at the end of the day, people are losing their lives. We are losing people's properties. And what benefit would it be to have leadership in place when some of these little challenges are not being addressed or solved? We hear of pumping monies upon monies into mitigating some of these challenges. Then we ask, what have been the benefits of these monies that we have been throwing away? I have said that we should begin moving from beyond relief items to lasting solutions. Let's move from relief items to lasting solutions.
3FM.
Those who have lost their properties and lives, what will 300 million Ghana cedis do to them? And how many people will receive this amount of money we are going to disburse? Is the 300 million going to bring their lives back? Marina, let's be serious as a country. Let us be serious. I heard my brother one comment that yes, it is not all the time we move in with a plan or intention to go and demolish. But you look at creating spaces for the gutters. Don't you have special planning here in Ghana?
Hydrological department.
Don't we have that hydrological department in Ghana where we know where our buildings should be and where it is earmarked for waterways? So when you put up your building there, what should you do? You have to break the building down.
Construct your drain. If it hit the building,
we'll bring it down. We are constructing the drain. When it hits your building, we'll bring it down.
That is.
We have so much fixated in appointing political party loyalists rather than looking at people who have the competence to do the job. These are three main issues. Number one, management of our waste. Look, what happened recently? If you look at about 50 to 60% of the issue, it's about waste management. It is about waste management. In other jurisdictions, these wastes are turned into different things, and people are making money out of it. But when you come to Ghana, it becomes a disaster. People drink pure water and throw it out because there are lack of dustbins on our streets. I agree. That is governance problem. But what becomes of you as a human being with thinking faculty to drink water and throw it away on the street? To drink water from a plastic bottle and decide to throw it in a gutter. Are you okay? Are we born good? Are we born correct? Let's face the issues. Let's stop diplomatically massaging the issues. Let's deal with it. I wish my brother was by his out. I had my senior brother Anyaba saying the previous administration spent about 550 million Ghana cedis on flood issues.
Okay. Flood control
program. And you see, we always pick the innocent, poor Ghanaian taxpayer money and go and dump it. You understand? So after spending that 550 million, what then became the essence of it? If a previous administration left 1 year and few months ago, and they had all these things in place with this gathered money, and we still cannot solve the problem, then what becomes of us as leaders? We are a failure. No, we are a failure. I agree to the fact that climate change also contributes. Of course, the report we heard from Parliament yesterday indicates that this is one of the highest volume of rain we have seen as a country. If we had put in place certain measures in curbing down this problem, I'm not sure we'll be where we are. Where are the monies? Must we always diplomatically deal with the issues? No. People indiscriminately dispose refuse in gutters. We have assemblies, we have bylaws. What are they doing? Look, every human being is born bad though. That white man there, if you leave him, if you allow him, he also do the same thing we are doing. But there are laws. There are laws that governs them. We have all the bylaws. Why are we not implementing them? In recent times, you made mention it, that just yesterday, just as we've gone through all these calamity, someone still went to the gutters, the door, whatever, and still dumped.
No, that was Medina.
And they still did the same thing.
And then another place
The person
where
should be arrested.
He should be arrested. He should be arrested.
where the water had destroyed homes and things. The person was collecting the rubbish and they caught him on video and he said, "Oh, last one."
He was dumping them. So you see, in as much as we're talking about the attitudinal problem in waste management, governance is also a problem. We have people who have been put in place to take charge of governance issues. Why are we leaders? We are leaders because we want to lead. We are leaders and we must serve with example. We are leaders because we want to solve problems. But when the problem comes and we are not able to solve it, what then becomes the essence of our leadership?
There are questions being asked of the government task force, which was tasked by the president to work to prevent flood this year. It has a deputy chief of staff, has a minister of state, has NADMO on it. And they've gone around last year. They went around with the president again on Monday. There are questions being asked as to where were they? What course of action did they take? What are they telling us that we've not heard before, that we should be listening to what they've told the president to have him come to tell us again?
Mona, if whatever we have done over the years have been so impactful, I'm not sure we'll be seeing what we are seeing on
well, this is also on Facebook as well, so that when they traveled with they went round with the president on Monday to have a look at what the aerial view is like and everything, right?
Marina, if committees that have been formed from previous administration to this administration, okay, have been so impactful, I'm not sure we'll be where we are. It's as simple as ABC will not be where we are. The real measure of success is not about how you form committees or you distribute relief items, but it's about how few Ghanaians are affected when we go through such problems. How few Ghanaians are affected. Just look at the view.
I mean, look at the aerial view of the capital.
Look at what is happening. The capital of Accra. The capital of Ghana, The capital of Ghana. Everywhere is submerged. Yet we have leaders. And every assembly has an MC. We have DCs.
It's beyond MC.
It's beyond MC.
But they've been given a mandate to do things.
If it's beyond MC, then what do? We need coordinated efforts.
Yes,
we need coordinated efforts. Can't you coordinate? We have NADMO. My big brother was there as a PRO in the pre-administration. You have NADMO. We have the Ghana police. We have all the other institutions. Can't we coordinate and give realistic solutions to our problems? Then we are a failed state. We are failed leaders. Let's face the issues as they are. Ghanaians are so frustrated. Ghanaians are frustrated. Look at this. Baller. This is baller. And as a human being, rightful thinking human being, you go and dump your refuse into this.
I mean, look at the filth.
And you wake up and go to church on Sunday.
And the water can't flow.
They say cleanliness is next to what? Godliness. You do this.
There's no way the water can flow. It will
How can the water flow?
It can't flow.
It will choke.
It will choke.
It will choke.
It will never flow.
Attitudinal change. Let's change our attitude. I saw the president talking somewhere, former President Nado in Canada, that he is not going to continue to waste money on this attitude of Ghanaians. We go and still come back to the same place. Mawina, what kind of future are we bequeathing to the next generation? So they will come and be viewing all these when we are old men. And what do you think will be their words and their messages to us? They will tell us we are failed. We are failed.
I'm even going to ask a question. So we are seeing all of the refuse. We are seeing persons whom have been inundated by rubbish and all of that. All of this which is being collected right now, it comes back. Where is it going to? Where is the waste? The waste which they will come for.
Yes.
Not the seal too.
I get it.
The waste.
I understand.
Where will the waste go to?
You see, Mawina, as you said, there are waste collection agencies in town or in the city, and they are responsible for that. They are designated landfill sites that they send these wastes to. And some of the challenges we've had when we do our communal labor, the first week, governments we're having that first or third Saturday, this thing. Most of the times when we desilt the drains, we leave them by there.
They go back.
They go back. So those were the challenges. Yes. So, yes, there are places designated for the disposal of these wastes when they are collected. But the efficiency of the management of those wastes is also another problem. And we know what the challenges are. I'm not restricting it to any particular government. We know that, because of delay in payment or sometimes government's inability to pay these waste management agencies, they also have challenges. We've seen times when Zoom Lion and co have had to hesitate or pussyfoot a little because they needed money to be able to carry out some of these things. And so it's all a big basket that we need to manage. Efficiency and management matters, okay, about these. They've had places. There are times too, there are challenges with landfill sites, okay? You go and the people don't want that place to be used as a landfill site. Sometimes government has to engage them extensively to be able to get the land, then to use it as a landfill site. So that's where we need to encourage the waste recycling companies to do what they have to do. So that we should begin as a people to be able to separate solid waste from other waste. You get it? Elsewhere, these things are done. If you are going to dispose of your waste, there are some, you separate them, you get it, and then, but here we just box them up and we send them. Another key matter we need to look at, in these days, the flooding. We said it, I think our brother was in the round, both of us said it at the beginning, but they're structural and engineering matters, okay? These ones are key things that we need to look at. You can't take that away. If we want to succeed in this, and again, because of where Accra in particular is situated, okay, below the Buri Hills or the Kapem range, and then His Excellency said the sea, okay. Now, another issue that I want to talk about, you see, the dredge masters, we have spoken about retention ponds and all that. My brother also touched on that. Dredge masters were engaged to be desilting or dredging the Odo here. Now, one consultant who was with NADMO and the dredge masters, I've always forgotten their names, and I was a professor also. He said something, and that one is political. He said when Dubai was about to be built, his recommendation, in fact, they had designed the Dubai. Well, by Dubai, I'm talking of the circle. So not the international Dubai.
Okay.
I'm talking circle Dubai. You know, when it was commissioned, he said Dubai. Yeah. So they designed everything, and then when he saw it, he saw that the drainage, underground drains, were not factored into it to get the water from the overhead into the Odo, you know, big gutter there. You get it? So he recommended that be included. And I think it escalated the cost. You get it? But the then government, you know, it was done by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He felt, okay, the thing had already been designed and cool. They should go ahead. They will see how they will factor that in later. Unfortunately, that wasn't factored in. If thereafter, even under us, maybe we could have re-looked at it to look at how we can get the drains to get into the Odo. And so that's part of the reason why a little rainfall circle is completely flooded.
Okay.
You get it? Because we didn't factor in the underground drainage systems in the place. Beautiful overhead there, beautiful Dubai, this thing, road and cool, but the drainage, this thing was not factored into it, especially underground.
So Marina,
okay, that's engineering. So
I don't
yes,
get it that much.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Sincerely speaking, I'm coming.
Right.
Yeah, this
Underground drain
from a
has-
technical
I'm
person.
coming.
Yes.
I will speak from technical.
Yeah,
Underground
this
drain.
is a technical person.
We normally consider the distance to its final destination. Let's look at where the Odo River is, where it's a river, and then look at where the Dubai. You construct. Maybe before it will get there, though, the level that it will go, it will not be favorable. Sometimes when it is full, it will even return back. Sometimes it will return back. You get it, being under pressure. And then when you look at where it is, and the nature of circle itself is low. Circle itself is low. So you look at the nature of circle, and then you want to construct underground drain, it will fail. So
That's from
since
technical
always,
perspective.
I disagree. Always.
You are
But what
like
I
lawyers,
thought-
two different lawyers who
Yes.
disagree.
Anyway, I disagree. My simple reason is that. My simple reason is one, if we always distill the Odo River and it flows, and then we have maybe additional gutters, not drain, to the drain that passes through the night market. So there's a drain through the night market, which is stone, to those ones, and then we construct another one, which will support that one to the Odo, and make sure that the Odo flows. We will not encounter what we encounter. What we encounter is as a result of the Odo being filled. The video that we watched, it doesn't even contains half of the volume of the space that is supposed to. Because in some instances, the sun is almost 2/3 of the gutter as we are watching. What we are watching is about 2/3. So the volume of water now is 1/3 of it. It contains 1/3 of the space. So to me, I thought it is not late. Engineers can look at it, the whole area, and then come out with design. If upon proper deliberation and then gradient taking, they realize the underground will work fine. If it will not work, surface, the surface. And consistently, distilling, consistent, maybe once in every 2 months, consistently.
Masters were even stationed there.
Yes, it should be consistently.
This year, from eyewitness and persons, they've not seen a lot of dredging.
That's what I'm saying. It should be consistent.
Dredging didn't happen.
It
So
should be
then the
consistent.
committee. You see,
That's why I
these
asked a question
committees,
as to the
that's what you see,
committee.
The committees, my brother, the committees are to, yes, in as much as they may recommend long-term.
What I know about the
but they will look at the exigent matters, okay, so that people can be safe in the immediate times.
The little I knew about the committee is they went around identifying the dangerous areas and then writing their reports, recommendations, remedies on those areas. That is what I know for now. And then when they put it, government must also implement.
Yeah.
So maybe we might not be seeing it now, but I know that they went around and recommend some areas, not only in Greater Accra, all the regions of area.
But the sector minister for works and housing is on it too.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
He's on his own.
Recently, yeah.
He's on the committee.
Definitely, local government should be on it.
I agree with you.
Even the interior.
Of course.
Interior.
No, NADMO is under interior.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, NADMO's rep is one of the deputies there.
So,
Is
you see,
there.
all we are talking about, okay, boils down to governance issues.
3FM
It's about leadership.
90.7.
Emma, forgive me in 30 seconds. The last, you see the drained point where the water drained the sea. From even, let me say, from Central Gospel. That place, the water doesn't flow much. So it delays. You know what? When it delays, it passes.
Yeah, and it almost like a pushback of some sort.
And that place, the water doesn't flow fast. So the dredging is very prioritized. Those places, so that the water, if the water flows there, the back lot will also move. So that place is a bigger problem. And we should assess that bridge, the Kolebu Bridge. If it cannot,
there's a wager area going to the sea to
that area,
dredging.
they are the challenges.
Yeah. The point of entry
Yeah,
to
that's
the sea.
tourist.
Some distance to the connections are the biggest challenge. Beside what we are talking of the sun, they are also bigger. But
The technical conversations we are having. But the Ghanaian sitting out there is not listening to what we are talking about. They want to see real-time solutions. Because our taxes have been expended. They're wasting our money on these things. So it's not about the technicalities we discuss. You understand? The Ghanaian people are looking out for solutions. That is why we are voted into office as leaders.
you are right. Evidence shows that, evidence shows that Alaju. By then I was at Accra Poly. You see, when we get to Caprice, we put our books in our dress and walk through the water. I was living at Accra here. Evidence showed that when storm drain was constructed there,
It became better.
it minimized everything. Evidence also showed Taifa Junction, when you ran Taifa,
Yes.
there was a similar. Evidence also showed after the overbridge, Apenkwa footbridge, first when you descend, where the charcoal sellers are, it used to flood my waist level. But evidence showed that when they were doing the carriageway, the double carriageway, they expanded the drain there, it's solved. Nima, evidence.
You know, that
showed.
Nima bridge is not completed yet too.
No, when it get to the N1,
You get into the
canal,
canal,
that is what is not complete.
So
But
we
the
need to
danger place,
tackle that.
we've passed the danger place.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see, it's solved. Ashama, which I was part, and you admitted,
Yeah.
Ashama is solved. So there are evidence that show that when we move into the structures, believe me to say, we will not be seeing this.
And
You
that
see,
is
that's where I come to my brother. You say we want the solution, but we need the technical things to get the solution. The resources to get the technical people to do their work to get the solution.
We need money.
We can do that. I'm a politician. I'm in the position. I would want to bastardize the whole thing, but we need to find the real solutions. I can do my politics and Mawina will look at me. I'll go back. How are we solving the matter?
Yes.
I sit here on the ticket of NDC.
A bit more technical today.
I understand the technicalities, but you see, we've been so technical about these issues, and for over years, we are still where we are.
You know the biggest challenge? You see, funding. It is highly capital intensive.
You know, the Carrick Fund,
when I did, I have the
200, then
when I did the basic.
But
you see, Marina, I understand that we have funding challenges, but even if we receive 100 million, we have project outlines that when you have 100 million, you can do from A to B. And then when you get other funding, you continue. What do we see? People just stop the money.
So I was going to come to Garrett, right? Because if you trace how much we've received from the World Bank, in excess of $500 million.
Garrett, 200, 150.
200, 150. There was another.
But all wasn't dispersed.
It was not a go.
Yeah, it's not. That's why I said if you want to trace it all. right?
For now, we can always speak of the 200 and the 150.
200 and the 150.
Yeah, and 17 districts were considered for that in the greater Accra.
Are the tangibles available? That's the question. Because 200 plus 150 is 350 million.
Yes, but not always disbursed. I think I have the data.
You
I understand.
will look for it.
I think initially 36%.
Yeah,
You understand?
Yeah.
What inhibited the disbursement
Part of it
is one, because once the money is made available, you're supposed to move into action, and then you can begin to produce certificates and receive additional funding.
My excitement, you see, engineer did say something that when you go that you're doing the
Evidence
drain.
shows that
Yes,
it will
no,
solve the
you're doing
problem.
the drain, and people stay along the routes. You clear them. You get it. That my thinking with Gary, to be honest with you, I've been in some meetings. Gary, this thing, the technical team, and I thought it was going to be storm drain solutions. You get it. But later, I think they considered the number of people that were going to be affected, and I'm a politician.
And the
I thought there
votes.
was some political. I wouldn't shy away. From it. You get it.
Because that was it was supposed to be storm drains.
Yes.
Storm drains.
Then later they said the district should take the money and do their own. I said, that to me wasn't the initial plan. Okay? So if later monies are given to the 17 districts to manage the drains, it's deviating from getting a solution-based storm drains for
it comes back to the politicians.
governance and leadership. The number of people who are going to be affected along the timing wasn't good.
Governance and leadership.
It says the timing wasn't good. An election was coming, so you want to win.
Look, we need a
Because when you
government.
don't,
Sometimes you must be ready to damn the consequences.
Exactly. But
and then pay the
All
price.
the politicians are saying be ready to damn the consequences, but they never damn the consequences.
What I'm going to say
Remember
is
G. Blacksey and Aboji said they were doing all the
Yes.
things, and we politicians had to stop them.
Chenche, it was stop.
we need to be very deliberate. We need to be very deliberate.
Very
in some
deliberate.
decisions. Look, we have been so much reactive.
Diplomatic.
We've been so diplomatic on solving our challenges. Let's be proactive. I've said that President Mahama has a legacy to leave behind. Look, he can put his presidency on the line. Of course, he's not going for any election.
His party is there.
I understand. You see, your party can be there. All right? But the Ghanaian people who are going to vote for your party, do you want them to die first? Do you want them to lose their properties?
We will not let them die.
No! Solve the problem. Mahama should make sure he solves this problem. If past presidents are not able to solve it, President Mahama should solve this problem. He should solve it. Look, we have these MMDCs. And you see, let me go back to the waste management issues we were talking about. Challenges, when they come up, we try to find solutions to them. If Zoom Live was working, on waste management, and at the point you realized that the contract terms was not going so well, he was not paying his workers well and all that, we took all the contracts from him. I think that taking all the contracts is one thing. We could have aggregated the contracts gradually and studied the project he was doing. Now that we are where we are, I think he should come back to do his job. Because the assemblies are not doing the job.
He's still in the space for competition, right?
Yeah.
He can bid.
He can bid.
Yeah, he can
No,
bid too.
and I'll be honest.
There was monopoly, but now
There was monopoly. The question is, the work, was it being done to a certain level? I've had people argue and say, "Oh, why are you taking Ghanaian business? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And all of those.
Let's just suppose the
conversations.
effects. If the work
Fair
was
enough.
not done to a level that we expected, just suppose that to today.
But
Look at what we are seeing.
there was flooding then still.
Did we see this baller in the gutter then? Like this?
Oh, Bola has always been in the
This one has
gutter.
gone too much high. This one, where
It's always been there.
It has been there, but not like as this.
The point I'm seeking to make is that I believe business people will drive development. Go back and watch documentaries. Andrew Carnegie, Vanderbilt's. They built America with industry and innovation. One-man business. putting up rail lines across the entirety of the US. They will drive development.
You know why they were able to do that?
When you're given responsibility or you enjoy monopoly within a certain space, you drive development. You carry the nation along and you drive development. We all can agree that outside of the concerns of how much was being paid, waste collection, why? We drive and we still see waste on the road. So those are concerns. We need to find a way to deal with the waste. Now we are being told plastics will be banned. To begin to find a solution to dealing with it. Where are we on that?
Marina, I agree with you, all right, that private individuals sometimes get the monopoly, okay, to drive development, to drive change. But we have political appointees who spearhead those responsibilities, those jobs. So if the private man is not able to deliver, what then becomes the essence of you, the political appointee, who have been put there to work? What becomes your essence?
Relevance.
What becomes your relevancy? You understand? And so for the private people, they are in for their profit. They'll do whatever they want to do. But it behoves the political appointee to make sure that that private person is doing what is right. One monitor now, what do you expect him to do? He will just mess you up and go his way.
Maybe next time we come, maybe we should be having the NDC manifesto, so we see the promise on
manifesto is
flood
not a problem.
management.
That's the manifesto they can
flood
develop
management. You know, His Excellency in the throes of the election year getting closer, he emphasized on the challenges of flooding and how, you know, he intends to solve them. So maybe, yes, he's put a technical committee in place. Maybe the 30 months ahead, you know, we've done 18 months, right? The next 30 months, maybe His Excellency will get his acts right. You go to the manifesto and see the promises he made to solving flood issues, okay? And then begin to tackle it. Maybe Malik will be part of the team that will try to resolve it for us. We want, as you said, we need to have it
like I said,
it must start from somewhere.
4.221 urban water supply and distribution. The NDC proposes several initiatives to provide engineering solutions to address perennial flooding, upgrade the existing existing urban water supply system. So of the many things they do, construct water retention and detention reservoirs in flood-prone communities to reduce the perennial flooding and for irrigation and other purpose.
That's correct.
As for the manifesto, like I'm saying, it's not a problem.
And this in the 2015 flood report.
and you see,
so it's implementation.
also admitted that it was 2015, and then they came to power in 2017. They could have also looked at it and then implement the good side of it. I will not say all, because you also like to put some inputs in it. That's fine. But so what we are talking about, believe me to say, this committee that has been said, which I'm aware, that they went around first to identify the danger areas, the prone areas, and then they wrote their recommendation. We may say it is late, but better. They wrote their recommendation. And as I said earlier, we can mitigate it drastically. We can, you know, the lagoon at Sakumodo Lagoon, we just have to reclaim it and then dredge the whole thing and then dredge the way, the road to the place, and then dredge it. We have to do similar thing at where I just mentioned here, Kole there, and then Wager, which I also mentioned. We just have to do that. Believe me, it will come down, as I said earlier. It is capital.
Flooding is mentioned 11 times.
They give us the money.
But that is the danger.
Who chop the money?
In the manifesto.
Who chop the money?
Flooding is mentioned 11 times.
You know, Garib to...
And I tell you, what he's saying, the committee going around, yes. But with the press of Barton at the Ministry of Works and Housing, they know the challenges. They know what the issues are.
We are not solving the problem.
Which is there is a report since 2015. You didn't implement it. They are not implementing it. They are not implementing it.
It is leadership failure. It is leadership failure
So
across all political.
That's why I told you,
whether
Mawena,
NPC or NPP, they are failures.
Mawena, I
how
told
do
you,
you fail us?
I told you that as a disaster officer,
Identifying the problem.
I've told you that as
Okay,
a
so
disaster
let me do it this
officer,
way.
yeah.
1-1-1 and
Yes,
then we go.
as a disaster officer, I've had the privilege of traveling elsewhere to see how things are done and all that. We haven't, and up to now, we don't prioritize disaster management. It's not a priority. It's not a priority until we begin to refocus and prioritize disaster matters in Ghana. Okay? We may not be making the needed progress that we expect. Okay? So government has fine blueprints. There may be KPIs and all that. Resources, availability, the technical people, okay, to drive these vision of government is very important. Flooding is a big challenge. Mawena just told us, 1939 report, flood in Accra. Almost,
2026.
sorry, 35, right?
Yes,
35.
2026.
Getting
the
to
same
100
problem.
years and headlines. I saw a 1960 graphic headline. Floods in Accra today is getting worse.
It's an indictment
So
on all of
government
us.
may have good intentions, but we need to channel resources and the technical people to get to work, roll up their sleeves and get to work so that we bring, and it is structural and engineering.
Malik, you have the final word, and then your final word as well, and then I'll go to Mark.
Also, we couldn't go to South Africa. That's okay. This one is important.
This is more important. They should be doing what they are. They should be doing what they are doing.
Maureen, as I said, how do you solve problem? Solving of a problem is one, to identify the problem. If you don't identify problems, how do you solve them? You identify the problem, and then before you come in and come and assess the problem, and then cause the problem, and then look for the funding. That is what the committee did earlier. And
that's what my man doesn't want to hear. It's too long.
and you see,
I mean, some of the things is too long.
you know, and Maureen,
that's
as
the
we
right
read,
process.
as you read the manifesto, it will be worked on. The most important is it is a structure work, right? As I will say, which I support him, and it is capital intensive. We pray to make money because off-head calculation that I did, we need close to $3 billion.
So the figure
So
actually is
sure.
5 billion.
Yeah,
5 billion.
as an off-head I did. We're talking about 3
But
billion.
that's an
You see,
official
off-head.
technical work done. It's
Thank you,
5
but,
billion,
thank you. But I did off-head because I have a quantities background too.
Okay.
So off-head, what I did is about 3 billion just to solve. Maybe this is completion of the 5, but just to solve, tackle the major areas to bring it down.
Compensation,
And this 5 is
Those
even
things,
some
yeah.
few years back.
You get
So it could even be more.
$5 billion. You understand?
Could even be
No,
more.
dollar, half of the dollar is stable. but the city could fluctuate.
Is what we've done.
The city will
Sometimes
fluctuate,
it
but
varies
dollar
a
will be
little.
steady. So I think let's all pray that the government will make money. We'll get some money.
Praying to make money.
Yeah, to get money.
Roll up your sleeves and make money for us.
Let's pray government raise some money.
Let me give Mark the final
lack
word
of
because I have
enforcement,
my crystal is that she has to do this.
The lack of enforcement is not just a reflection of public indiscipline, all right? But I foresee that our laws exist, okay, to promote order and discipline. And these ought to be seen by the Ghanaian people, who must lead the charge. It is we, the politicians. So if the politicians are not doing anything, I'm disappointed in them because they have failed the good people of Ghana.
Fair enough. That's Mark Iwusiako is a convener of Election Watch Ghana. Malik Adama is an engineer and also a member of the NDC's communication team. And George AEC is a former head of communication at NADMO. All of them bringing expertise into the conversation.